So the first manual transmission car I ever drove was a 1999 Honda Civic SIR, and my friend let me drive it because I was having a really rough day that day, and he thought it would cheer me up, and it did. And a few things that I'll never forget about that car is how freely the engine revved, how smooth the shifter was, and how Spartan the inside looked, while the outside looked kind of boy racer-ish, which I liked. So now I'm 30 years old, and I'm thinking back to the day, and I'm still relishing that moment that I had with the Civic SIR. And I want to have that again, but let's say I don't want people to think I'm a complete buffoon. So what do? I take a look at one of these, the 2014 Acura ILX, formerly known as the CSX.
Formerly known as the 1.7 EL.
Formerly known as the 1.6 EL.
So it's had more name changes than Prince, but let's not beat around the bush. This is basically a Civic underneath. And all those previous versions have always been Civics underneath. Acura now says that they are more serious about this car and have invested more money into this car to make it a serious contender in the market, i.e. it's less of a Civic than before. What market is this? Acura offers the ILX in trim levels: base, dynamic, and hybrid. I have here the Dynamic, which uses the dual overhead cam 2.4 liter IV Tech engine from the Civic Si, making 200 horsepower and 170 pound-feet of torque. Apart from the changes to the body, interior, and minor tweaks to the insides, it's essentially a Civic Si in a suit. It's also the only trim option available with a manual. So the question I want to ask is, has it separated itself enough from the Civic to make it a premium car, while keeping some of the traits of that Civic SIR that I relish driving so much? Let's take a look.
So all the Acura versions of this car have always typically been based on Civics, but this is the first one where I really can't tell that it is based on a Civic. I mean, just look at it. So good job there.
So what about inside? This feels like a classy place. Seats are a nice leather, most of the trim panels are lightly padded, and the steering wheel has this nice semi-smooth leather with a large rim that feels nice in your hand, almost BMW-like. No Spartan interior here. The rear seats are pretty spacious, but they don't fold 60-40 and don't go down flat all the way. They do expose a bit of room though, and like the Civic, there is enough space for you to fit all your junk in the trunk.
So this car's got electrically adjustable seats. And right now I've got the seat maxed out in its highest position, and my head is basically the only way I can fit in this car is with my head inside the sunroof. So if I lower it all the way down, it does this weird tilt thing. And being 6 feet tall, my head is still touching the headliner. So this car was designed more for midgets.
They've removed some of the cool looking but somewhat juvenile, spacey feeling dash in exchange for something more business-like. As is standard on cars nowadays, there are various ways to connect and charge your phone. The Bluetooth connection actually allows you to read text messages from the display, but I found it didn't work with my Samsung Galaxy S3, and the Bluetooth would randomly disconnect and reconnect on its own. So far, overall the car feels a bit more grown up, more mature, but does it still have the soul of a boy racer?
So the one thing that I remember about Honda engines is that they love to rev. This car is no different. When Honda changed the Civic Si engine from a 2-liter to a 2.4 liter, they lowered the rev limit from 8,000 to 7,000, making it a little bit less frantic, but doesn't mean it's any less fun. And what it's done is it's given the car a little bit more torque to work with, so you don't have to work it quite so hard. And once you hit 4,500 RPM, it uses its IV Tech technology to actually change the cam profile to something more aggressive. So you actually feel like you've hit a little boost of turbo at 4,500. So if all of that is just complete car gibberish to you, let me describe it to you like this. Gear shifter is just excellent. You go through gears, it just snatches through. Another Honda trademark. The shifter is probably one of the best shifters out there on sale right now. I pity you people that end up buying the automatic version of this car. I really do, because you'll miss out on this.
So probably the two major points to note about this car are 1, the electrically assisted steering system, and 2, the dual piston dampers, which are not offered on Civic Si. While fractionally more efficient, it is commonly known that electrically assisted steering systems lack steering feel, which was a good trait of the old Civic SIR. And the idea of the dual piston dampers is to offer 2 damper settings in parallel, so that you have the soft piston working for you on a rougher road, while the stiff piston working for you in the corners. So do both of these systems combine to provide you with the SIR driving experience?
Steering is electric, so it's a bit devoid of feel, so we've lost some of that classic Honda Civic-ness to it, a bit of its rawness, but what you've gained back is a little bit more civility, a little bit more comfort. And I think for the people who are looking for a car like this, that's going to perfectly tick that box. The downside with all these creature comforts is somewhere, somehow, they've turned a normal Honda Civic into a car that weighs 3,000 pounds. 3,000 pounds. Front-wheel drive car weighing 3,000 pounds. And the downside is that you feel it in the corners. When you're going through a turn, you notice the weight. You know, even with the dampers, it doesn't hide the fact that the car's leaning around. And I'm not expecting a sports car, so let's just be clear about that. But you feel the weight. And that's something I wasn't expecting to see on a car like this. The brakes, as I think is pretty standard for Hondas, are really good actually. But they're a little touchy right at the top of the pedal. So that's good if you're just trying to stop. You want it to actuate as soon as possible, but the downside is it makes braking in a progressive manner a little bit more difficult. You have to really be ready to kind of like touch the pedal and just hold it while you're just skimming over top.
The last thing I remember about older Civics is how easy they were to steal. So is this car any different? While the keyless entry allows for you to open the doors and start the car with a key fob in hand, you need to make sure you have some real trustworthy friends, or this could happen.
The problem with all of this is that with that smooth revving engine that feels like it's stirring cream, with the shift lever that you're moving around that is so smooth, undoubtedly you are going to get arrested by the cops. And because you used to be a boy racer, they're going to look at your history and you're going to end up in jail, which is bad. And that's something that probably wasn't thought about. So one of my friends asked me the other day, why would you ever buy an Acura ILX over, say, a base model 3 Series BMW? That's a very valid question. Your average person looking for sort of an entry-level premium car would probably look at the BMW 3 Series. But here's what they're going to be missing out on. A, everyone's going to think that they're a total douchebag. B, they're going to have a, downsized inline 4 turbocharged engine. Nothing wrong with that, but you don't get this. You don't get that. You know what I mean? Don't get that in a turbocharged engine. You get that in the Acura ILX. and you don't get the shifter. And all the while, you have those things. You have Honda reliability, Honda support, and Honda part replacement prices. Your call, really. Overall, the car is good. It's really good. I've been really impressed. And how I know this car is good is when people step into this car and they go, whoa, what is this? This is cool. And people don't know that it's a Honda Civic. So that's sort of a joke between you and me. What did you pay for a Honda Civic? It's not a Honda Civic. It's an Acura ILX.